Today, I'm going to reveal a carbohydrate that is even more dangerous than the sugar you have in your kitchen. It's addictive, accumulates fat in the belly, causes inflammation in the body, and according to recent research, may be one of the main culprits behind the alarming rise in obesity, diabetes, and various chronic diseases, including heart problems and even cancer. Now stop and think, why do so many people struggle with their weight, even when trying to eat better and exercise? This carbohydrate is fructose. But wait, I'm not saying you should stop eating fruits. The problem isn't them. Today, I'm going to show you why processed fructose is one of the worst ingredients in modern diets, how it affects your body in the long run, and what signs indicate you may be consuming more than you should. So stay with me until the end, because this might be the most important video you'll watch this year. Fructose, the hidden danger. Fructose may sound harmless. After all, it's found in fruits, right? But the truth is that isolated fructose, when consumed in excess, acts as a real villain in the body. Not only does it overload the liver, but it also contributes to the accumulation of visceral fat, a direct risk factor for heart disease and type 2 diabetes. The brain doesn't even register that it has been fed, which means hunger persists, encouraging excessive calorie intake. A study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association revealed that diets high in fructose raise blood triglyceride levels, significantly increasing the risk of atherosclerosis. And if you think the problem is only in sodas and sweets, think again. Fructose is hidden in many processed foods, often disguised under names like high fructose corn syrup and agave nectar. The industry knows that sweetness is addictive and uses it to its advantage. But after all, why are these products still being sold as if they were safe? The deception of the food industry. The food industry is a master at misleading consumers, and fructose is one of the biggest examples of this. Colorful packaging, labels with words like natural and no added sugar create a false sense of security. But the truth is that fructose is hidden in foods no one would suspect, from cereal bars to salad dressings. It's a well-orchestrated manipulation game. They reduce the amount of regular sugar and replace it with fructose, marketing it as a healthier option. However, the body processes this fructose in a completely different way, overloading the liver and contributing to metabolic diseases. Want a classic example? Many store-bought juices are labeled 100% fruit, but in reality, they are loaded with processed fructose, without fiber, without the essential nutrients of whole fruits. But why does the industry keep insisting on this ingredient? The answer is simple. Fructose is cheap, enhances flavor, and keeps consumers hooked. And if you think only sweets and juices are the problem, wait until you find out where else fructose is hiding. High fructose corn syrup, HFCS. High fructose corn syrup, HFCS, is one of the biggest contributors to the global obesity epidemic. Unlike the natural fructose found in fruits, which comes with fiber and essential nutrients, HFCS is an ultra-processed byproduct of corn, designed to be cheap and addictive. It's in practically everything: sodas, bread, sauces, breakfast cereals, and even some yogurts. But here's the danger. This type of fructose is rapidly absorbed by the body, causing blood sugar spikes and overloading the liver. The result? Increased fat accumulation, chronic inflammation, and a higher risk of type 2 diabetes. But if the fructose in corn syrup already causes so many problems, does that mean all sources of fructose are bad? Well, this is where the big difference between processed fructose and the fructose found in whole fruits comes into play. Fruits versus processed fructose. Many people get confused and think that all fructose is bad. But the truth is that there's a huge difference between the fructose found in whole fruits and the processed fructose that the food industry loads into ultra-processed products. When you eat a fruit, it comes packed with fiber, vitamins, antioxidants, and water. This slows down sugar absorption and prevents those blood sugar spikes. Now compare that to a store-bought juice or high fructose syrup. No fiber, no nutrients, just a sugar bomb sent straight to the liver. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism showed that excessive consumption of processed fructose is directly linked to elevated uric acid levels and insulin resistance, while the fructose found in whole fruits does not have the same negative effects. But if processed fructose is so harmful, where exactly is it hiding? You'll be surprised to find out that it's in foods you would never expect. Where is fructose hiding? If it were only in sweets and sodas, it would be easy to avoid. But processed fructose is lurking in places no one suspects. Salad dressings, ketchup, bread, cereal bars, healthy yogurts, and even some products marketed as light are loaded with this disguised sweetener. The industry's logic is simple. Adding fructose makes food tastier, cheaper, and more addictive. The problem is that this excessive amount of fructose, consumed daily without noticing, disrupts metabolism, increasing the risk of obesity, diabetes, and chronic inflammation. And the worst part? You might be consuming fructose without even realizing it, believing you're making healthy choices. And this isn't just a theory. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that people who regularly consume ultra-processed food sweetened with fructose have higher levels of liver fat and insulin resistance. But why does the industry insist so much on this ingredient? The answer lies in the strategy behind fructose use and the impact it has on your brain and appetite. The industry strategy. Fructose isn't just a cheap sweetener. It's a strategic tool used by the food industry to keep consumers addicted. Unlike glucose, which triggers an immediate satiety response, fructose doesn't activate the same mechanisms in the brain. In other words, you can eat something loaded with fructose and feel hungry again just minutes later. This means you eat more and buy more. It's no coincidence that so many processed foods are packed with this ingredient. It extends shelf life, enhances flavor, and on top of that, keeps you coming back for more. And if fructose is fueling the obesity epidemic, imagine what it's doing to vital organs like the liver. The internal damage is even more concerning than the visible weight gain. The impact of fructose on the body. Fructose's problem goes far beyond weight gain. When consumed in excess, it overloads the liver, which metabolizes it almost the same way as alcohol. This means more fat accumulation in the organ, increasing the risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, a condition that already affects millions worldwide. Additionally, fructose causes spikes in blood pressure, triggers chronic inflammation, and can even lead to insulin resistance, the first step toward type 2 diabetes. Someone might think they're eating something healthy, but in reality, they're putting their body in a silent danger zone. Studies show that individuals with high fructose intake had significantly more liver fat and elevated levels of inflammatory markers. Not to mention its impact on hunger and satiety hormones, which become dysregulated, creating a vicious cycle of constant hunger and weight gain. But it doesn't stop there. What fructose does to the brain is even more alarming. Recent studies suggest that this type of sugar can impair cognitive functions and even increase the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. Neurological and cognitive damage. Fructose doesn't just affect the body, it can also wreak havoc on the brain. Excessive consumption of this sugar has been linked to memory problems, difficulty concentrating, and even an increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Unlike glucose, which fuels the brain, fructose interferes with communication between neurons and harms brain plasticity. This means that, over time, a person may struggle more with learning, memory retention, and even emotional regulation. Ever noticed how your mind feels sluggish after eating ultra-processed snacks? That's no coincidence. And there's more. Fructose's impact goes beyond the brain and may be directly linked to the development of even more serious diseases like cancer. Yes, fructose can fuel cancer cells in a concerning way. Cancer risks. Few people know this, but fructose can be a fuel for cancer. Unlike glucose, which all cells in the body use for energy, fructose has a different metabolism and can directly stimulate the growth of cancer cells. Studies suggest that this sugar contributes to chronic inflammation, one of the main factors behind uncontrolled cell mutation. Additionally, fructose increases oxidative stress, promoting DNA damage and creating the perfect environment for tumor formation. In other words, without realizing it, many people are consuming something that could be feeding one of the most feared diseases in the world. A study from the MD Anderson Cancer Center found that diets high in fructose, especially from processed syrups, significantly increase the risk of breast and colon cancer. Why? Because fructose activates metabolic pathways that accelerate the proliferation of malignant cells. And it doesn't stop there. The impact of fructose on the body can be detected long before serious diseases develop. The body sends clear warning signs that something is wrong, but are people paying attention to them? Warning signs of excessive fructose consumption. The body has a subtle but clear way of signaling when something isn't right. Excess fructose consumption can manifest in various ways, and one of the first signs is unexplained weight gain, especially around the abdominal area. This happens because fructose is metabolized directly by the liver and converted into fat. Another common symptom is constant hunger, since fructose does not stimulate the release of leptin, the satiety hormone. That's why, even after drinking a sweetened juice or eating a healthy snack, hunger returns shortly after. Additionally, excessive fatigue, mood swings, and difficulty concentrating can also be warning signs that something is wrong. But the good news is that this can be reversed. Reducing fructose intake is one of the best ways to restore health, and it starts with simple choices in daily life. But how can you do this in a practical way without giving up the pleasure of eating well? How to reduce fructose consumption. The first step is to swap ultra-processed products for whole, natural foods. This means choosing whole fruits instead of store-bought juices, replacing ready-made sauces with homemade versions, and carefully checking labels. If an ingredient ends in syrup or nectar, it's best to avoid it. Another effective strategy is increasing fiber intake, which helps regulate sugar absorption and keeps you full for longer. Want a practical example? Instead of sweetened yogurt, try plain yogurt with fresh fruit and seeds. Cutting back on fructose can reduce inflammation, boost energy, and even improve brain function. Small changes in your daily routine can make a big difference. And if you want to keep learning how to avoid the worst enemies in your diet, don't stop here. On the screen, you'll see a must-watch video, the 10 worst foods for your heart health. If fructose surprised you, wait until you see the other foods that might be sabotaging your health without you even realizing it. Click now and find out. That's it for today's video. Stay well, and see you next time.